We begin our exhaustive forensic audit of modern industrial nutrition by entering the brightly lit, sanitized aisles of your local supermarket to dismantle the ultimate lie of corporate health marketing. Part 1. The Morning Breakfast Illusion. For over half a century, multi-billion-dollar food conglomerates, trade associations, and paid dietary authorities have systematically engineered a vast matrix of morning staples designed not to nourish your body, but to hijack your brain's chemistry, manipulate your taste receptors, and lock your metabolism into a state of chronic dependency. We commence this autopsy with item number 1, store-bought 100% pure orange juice. You have been conditioned to view that bright carton as a wholesome, sun-kissed symbol of morning vitality, an indispensable source of essential vitamin C straight from the grove. The stark industrial reality inside the factory tells a far more sinister story. To maintain a uniform taste, texture, and appearance across millions of supermarket shelves year-round, raw orange juice is pumped into massive, sterile holding tanks and completely stripped of oxygen, a process known as deaeration. This aggressive industrial preservation method prevents spoilage, but it also completely evaporates the delicate natural volatile flavor compounds and essential oils that give fresh oranges their signature taste and aroma. Left behind is a lifeless, sterile liquid that tastes like flat, metallic sugar water. To mask this degradation, chemical flavor formulation companies are hired to engineer proprietary flavor packs. Chemically synthesized mixtures of ethyl butyrate and industrial esters derived from discarded orange bio-waste. Because these chemical additives are synthesized from orange byproducts, regulatory loopholes allow manufacturers to withhold them from ingredient labels, masking a hyper-processed, fructose-dense concentrate syrup that floods your liver, accelerates visceral fat accumulation, and triggers acute insulin resistance before you even step out the front door. This deceptive transformation of humble ingredients reaches an art form in item number 2, commercially packaged granola. Neatly wrapped in earthy brown paper packaging, adorned with images of rustic farmhouses and rolling wheat fields, commercial granola is widely revered by health-conscious consumers as the pristine benchmark of clean, fiber-rich, whole-grain nutrition. Behind this wholesome facade lies a dense metabolic trap engineered for maximum profit margin. Plain rolled oats, while naturally fiber-dense, are inherently inexpensive and unpalatable in high volumes without heavy processing. To transform these cheap grains into addictive, crunchy clusters, industrial food processors submerge the oats in cheap, hydrogenated seed oils and drench them in high glycemic binders like brown sugar syrup, refined cane molasses, and corn syrup solids. The mixture is then baked at high temperatures, forming carcinogenic oxidation byproducts while coating every oat flake in a matrix of oxidized lipids and quick-burning carbohydrates. Far from being a heart-healthy morning choice, a single commercial serving delivers more refined sugar and industrial fat than a bakery donut, wrapped in synthetic preservatives like BHT to ensure a shelf life that outlasts the consumer. The industrial alteration of natural foods becomes even more blatant when we turn to the dairy aisle, exposing item number 3, low-fat flavored yogurt. Decades of misinformed public health guidance convinced an entire generation that dietary fat was the singular enemy of human longevity. Food manufacturers eagerly capitalized on this panic by stripping wholesome, full-fat whole milk dairy of its natural lipids. However, removing fat from yogurt completely destroys its rich, creamy mouthfeel, leaving behind a sour, watery paste that no consumer would willingly purchase. To restore palatability and engineer an addictive consumer product, chemical technicians replace the natural, highly satisfying milk fats with staggering amounts of high-fructose corn syrup, modified food starches, synthetic gums, and artificial colorings. By removing the natural fat that normally slows down gastric emptying and promotes satiety, low-fat fruit yogurts become rapid delivery vehicles for refined fructose and sucrose, spiking blood sugar levels, irritating the intestinal lining with artificial stabilizers, and guaranteeing a severe metabolic crash within hours. This cycle of taking cheap ingredients and dressing them up as health food continues in the cereal aisle with item number 4, plant-based whole-grain cereals. Marketed aggressively to parents with colorful promises of heart-healthy fiber, plant-based goodness, and essential daily nutrient coverage, these boxed cereals represent the pinnacle of ultra-processed grain engineering. Whole grains are pulverized into fine, degraded flours under intense thermal extrusion, a mechanical process that completely strips the grain of its natural cellular architecture, destroying delicate heat-sensitive nutrients and native fiber structures. What remains is a rapidly digestible starch matrix that your digestive system breaks down into pure glucose at lightning speed. To make these extruded cardboard-like pellets appealing to children and adults alike, they are coated in refined sugar glazes, artificial flavorings, and chemical emulsifiers. Because the natural nutrient profile was utterly destroyed during manufacturing, corporations spray the finished product with a mist of cheap synthetic vitamins and isolated minerals, a chemical band-aid designed to secure glowing health claims on the box, while delivering a product that triggers immediate glycemic surges and chronic low-grade gut inflammation. This chemical trickery extends directly into your weekend breakfast rituals through item number 5, pre-made protein pancakes and waffling mixes. Promoted heavily to fitness enthusiasts and time-strapped families as a convenient, high-protein alternative to traditional morning pastries, these boxed mixes promise clean fuel for active lifestyles. A simple glance at the chemical manifest reveals an industrial concoction that bears almost no resemblance to traditional, nutrient-dense batter made from fresh whole eggs, real butter, and raw milk. To achieve a high-protein metric on the Nutrition Facts panel at minimal production cost, manufacturers flood the mix with low-grade soy protein isolates, denatured whey concentrates, and processed wheat gluten. These cheap, highly processed protein powders are mixed with refined seed oils, chemical leavening agents like sodium aluminium phosphate, and synthetic emulsifiers designed to mimic the structural integrity of real eggs. The resulting product is a dense, inflammatory cake that taxes the gastrointestinal tract, stresses kidneys with denatured protein isolates, and floods the vascular system with oxidized vegetable fats under the deceptive banner of modern fitness nutrition. The illusion of convenient wellness reaches its absolute performance cult peak in item number 6. Commercial fruit and veggie smoothies, conveniently packaged in sleek, brightly colored plastic bottles in the supermarket refrigerated case. These commercial smoothies are marketed as liquid health, an easy way to drink 3 full servings of fruits and vegetables on the go. In reality, these colorful concoctions are nothing more than pasteurized, fiber-stripped sugar bombs. To survive weeks on a store shelf without spoiling, these commercial blends undergo intense thermal pasteurization. This high-heat treatment completely obliterates delicate biological enzymes, degrades heat-sensitive phytonutrients, and destroys the living cellular matrix of the produce. Crucially, the high-speed industrial blending and filtration processes strip out the insoluble dietary fiber that naturally regulates how your body absorbs sugar. Without that crucial fiber barrier, a single commercial smoothie delivers 40 to 60 grams of unbuffered liquid fructose directly to your digestive tract, overwhelming the liver, spiking blood sugar, and triggering rapid lipogenesis, while providing zero lasting physical satiety. We round out this first part by examining the ultimate deception of quick-fix morning convenience. Item number 7. Instant oatmeal packs. Whole, steel-cut oats have long been praised by nutritionists as a slow-burning, complex carbohydrate that provides sustained physical energy. Industrial food manufacturers took this wholesome staple and completely ruined its biological benefits in the name of microsecond convenience. To create instant oatmeal that cooks in seconds with simple boiling water, whole oat groats are subjected to intense mechanical slicing, high-pressure steaming, and pre-gelatinization. This aggressive industrial pre-digestion shatters the complex physical structure of the oat starch. When you consume instant oatmeal, your digestive enzymes no longer need to work to break down the grain. The pre-gelatinized starch dissolves almost instantly, bypassing normal digestive barriers and flooding your bloodstream with glucose at a rate comparable to eating pure table sugar. Combined with artificial fruit flavorings, dehydrated sugar crystals, and synthetic anti-caking agents, these convenient packets transform a time-tested health food into an acute metabolic hazard that leaves you craving more sugar before mid-morning even arrives. We advance our cold clinical investigation from the morning breakfast table to the rapidly expanding multi-billion-dollar empire of modern dietary virtue. Part 2. The plant-based and diet scam. Capitalizing on environmental anxiety, ethical concerns, and chronic weight loss desperation, industrial food conglomerates have engineered a brand new generation of ultra-processed alternative foods. These laboratory creations are marketed as compassionate, eco-friendly, and biologically superior alternatives to traditional whole foods. Yet they represent some of the most complex, chemically dense, and metabolically destructive products ever placed on a retail shelf. We begin this section by exposing item number 8, ultra-processed plant-based meats. Advertised as revolutionary breakthroughs that bleed, sizzle, and taste just like real animal protein without the ethical or cardiovascular penalty, these bioengineered patties are a triumph of chemical synthesis over human biology. To mimic the texture, moisture retention, and mouthfeel of natural muscle tissue, manufacturers combine isolated soy or pea proteins with methyl cellulose, a synthetic industrial binder and bulk-forming laxative derivative. To recreate the rich sizzle of animal fats, the mixture is saturated with highly refined, chemically extracted canola or sunflower seed oils, loaded with fragile omega-6 fatty acids prone to rapid oxidation. The final, horrifying touch comes from synthesized leg hemoglobin and concentrated yeast extracts, engineered to trick your brain into tasting savory meat. What you are actually consuming is a hyper-processed, high-sodium, bioengineered disc of oxidized lipids and industrial binders that triggers acute systemic inflammation, disrupts gut barrier integrity, and taxes your metabolic organs far more than a simple pasture-raised cut of meat ever could. This same corporate playbook has systematically overtaken the refrigerated dairy case, exposing item number 9, commercial almond and oat milks. Millions of health-conscious consumers have abandoned traditional dairy in favor of plant-based milk alternatives, believing they are choosing a cleaner, lighter, and more digestible option. The commercial reality of these carton beverages is an absolute triumph of industrial profit margins over actual nutrition. A standard carton of commercial almond milk consists of roughly 98% municipal tap water, containing a pathetic handful of heavily processed almonds whose natural fats, fibers, and minerals have been largely strained out during production. To give this diluted water the creamy consistency, white color, and stability of real milk, manufacturers emulsify it with industrial seed oils and a cocktail of synthetic gums, including gellan gum, guar gum, and carrageenan, an inflammatory seaweed derivative known in clinical settings to trigger severe gastrointestinal inflammation and ulcerative lesions in animal models. To make these watery concoctions palatable and shelf-stable, they are spiked with refined cane sugars and fortified with poorly absorbed synthetic minerals like tricalcium phosphate. Consumers are paying top-dollar prices for a carton of chemically stabilized, sugar-sweetened water that offers virtually zero bioavailable protein while actively irritating the mucosal lining of the digestive tract. When consumers seek to escape refined table sugar, they are directed toward the health food aisle to discover item number 10, Agave nectar, natural sweetener. Neatly packaged in rustic bottles featuring vibrant cactus illustrations, agave nectar is aggressively marketed as a low-glycemic, natural alternative to refined sugar and high-fructose corn syrup. A gentle, honey-like syrup suitable for diabetics and health enthusiasts alike. This wholesome image is a complete, fraudulent marketing fabrication. In its raw form, the sap of the agave plant does contain natural fructans, but the commercial manufacturing process completely destroys them. The blue agave root juice is subjected to extreme thermal hydrolysis using enzymatic degradation and chemical processing, evaporating all natural vitamins, minerals, and fibers. What emerges from the factory is a hyper-concentrated syrup that is up to 85% pure, unbuffered liquid fructose, a concentration significantly higher than the high fructose corn syrup found in commercial soft drinks. Fructose cannot be directly metabolized by your body's cells for immediate energy. It must be routed directly to your liver. Flooding your liver with high-dose liquid agave fructose triggers rapid de novo lipogenesis, driving non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, soaring blood triglyceride levels, and severe insulin resistance, proving that agave nectar is nothing more than high-fructose corn syrup hiding behind an eco-friendly label. This desperate search for guilt-free sweetness reaches its absolute pharmacological peak in item number 11. Diet soda with artificial sweeteners. Promoted as the ultimate zero-calorie solution for weight management, diet soft drinks allow consumers to enjoy intense, hyper-palatable sweetness without adding a single gram of sugar or a single calorie to their daily ledger. This seems like a miracle of modern food science, but human biochemistry cannot be so easily cheated. Powerful synthetic intense sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and acesulfame potassium interact with your biology in deeply destructive ways. When these intensely sweet molecules hit the taste receptors on your tongue, they send a high-voltage signal to your brain, preparing your digestive tract and pancreas for an incoming tsunami of glucose. When no real carbohydrates arrive in the stomach, this chemical misfire disrupts normal metabolic signaling, tricking your brain into triggering intense, uncontrollable cravings for real, dense carbohydrates later in the day. Furthermore, recent microbiological research reveals that non-nutritive artificial sweeteners pass through the stomach and directly alter the composition of your gut microbiome, selectively killing off beneficial bacterial strains, inducing gut dysbiosis, and paradoxically triggering the exact same glucose intolerance and weight gain that the diet soda was consumed to prevent. For those adhering to low-carbohydrate diets, corporate manufacturers have crafted a distinct chemical playground, exposing item number 12, sugar-free keto snack bars. Stacked high in health food store displays and wrapped in sleek scientific packaging, these packaged bars promise high-fat, zero-net carb indulgence that keeps you in a state of fat-burning ketosis. To achieve these low-net carbohydrate claims on the nutrition facts panel, food scientists rely on mathematical tricks and heavy chemical substitution. Natural sugars are replaced with high volumes of sugar alcohols like maltitol, sorbitol, and erythritol, alongside synthetic soluble corn fibers and refined palm oils. While sugar alcohols technically contain fewer calories per gram, they are poorly absorbed by the small intestine, passing directly into the large bowel, where they are fermented by gut bacteria, causing severe painful gas, abdominal bloating, and explosive diarrhea. Furthermore, cheap sugar alcohols like maltitol possess a surprisingly high glycemic index, triggering significant hidden insulin spikes that knock you right out of ketosis, while flooding your digestive tract with unabsorbed chemical polyols and oxidized palm fats. This pattern of replacing one metabolic problem with a significantly worse chemical solution is perfectly demonstrated in item number 13, gluten-free baked alternatives. Born out of a legitimate need for individuals with celiac disease, the gluten-free market has exploded into a massive lifestyle trend, with millions purchasing gluten-free bread, cookies, and crackers under the false assumption that removing wheat gluten automatically makes a food healthier and more slimming. To replicate the elastic, airy structure that gluten naturally provides to baked goods, industrial bakeries replace simple wheat flour with a refined mixture of ultra-high glycemic, low-fiber starches, including tapioca starch, potato starch, white rice flour, and cornstarch. To hold these dense starches together, they load the dough with synthetic hydrocolloids like xanthan gum and modified cellulose, alongside refined vegetable oils and extra sugar to restore lost flavor. The resulting gluten-free alternatives are dense glycemic landmines that spike blood glucose levels faster and higher than standard white bread, offering virtually zero fiber, micronutrients, or bioavailable protein, while charging double the price for hyper-processed starch. We round out this second part by examining the ultimate structural deception of visual health marketing. Item number 14. Veggie straws and chips. Displayed prominently in the snack aisle with vibrant green, orange, and red packaging, these airy, crunchy snacks are marketed to parents and health-conscious eaters as a superior vegetable-based alternative to traditional potato chips. The claim is that you are enjoying the crisp, nutrient-dense goodness of fresh spinach, ripe tomatoes, and sweet carrots in a convenient snack form. A microscopic look at the ingredients list reveals an industrial illusion of the highest order. The base of these veggie straws consists almost entirely of processed potato starch, dehydrated potato powder, and refined corn flour. The promised vegetables, spinach and tomato, are introduced only at the very end of the manufacturing process in the form of minuscule amounts of tomato paste and spinach powder, added primarily to color the processed dough red and green. The raw dough is then flash-fried in cheap, chemically refined canola or sunflower seed oils and dusted with heavy monosodium glutamate and salt mixtures. When you strip away the clever coloring and agricultural marketing, veggie straws offer the exact same high-calorie, ultra-processed, oil-soaked nutritional profile as a standard bag of potato chips, serving as a masterclass in how corporate food companies sell industrial junk under the hypocritical banner of vegetable health. We divert our clinical scrutiny from the realm of dietary virtue to the high-stakes, multi-billion-dollar athletic performance complex. Part 3. The Fitness and Performance Trap. In an era obsessed with muscle building, fat loss, and physical optimization, corporate nutrition conglomerates have successfully rebranded industrial candy, chemical hydration fluids, and heavily preserved convenience foods as essential daily fuel for the active human body. We commence this autopsy with item number 15, commercial protein bars. Promoted heavily by fitness influencers, gym chains, and supplement manufacturers as an indispensable post-workout necessity, these sleek foil-wrapped bars promise to repair muscle tissue, crush appetite, and accelerate metabolic health. A cold look at the industrial manifest exposes nothing more than a disguised candy bar engineered with cheap industrial byproducts. The primary protein source is typically low-grade soy protein isolate or denatured whey concentrate, heavily processed using chemical solvents and high heat that strip away natural bioactivity. To bind these dry protein powders into a chewable log, food technicians submerge them in high-fructose corn syrup, brown rice syrup, or cheap sugar alcohols. The bar is then enrobed in an artificial chocolate coating made from fractionated palm kernel oil, artificial vanilla, and soy lecithin. When you consume one of these workout bars, you are not fueling your athletic potential. You are flooding your bloodstream with inflammatory seed fats and refined sugars, achieving the exact same metabolic spike as eating a chocolate candy bar, wrapped in a deceptively high price tag. This commercial manipulation of athletic hydration is even more obvious in item number 16, electrolyte and sports drinks. Wrapped in neon labeling and endorsed by world-class professional athletes, these bright liquid beverages are marketed to gym-goers, runners, and everyday workers as mandatory hydration aids required to replenish minerals lost through routine sweating. Unless you are engaging in hours of intense, continuous physical labor in extreme heat, these drinks are an absolute biological catastrophe. The average bottle delivers 40 to 50 grams of refined, simple sugars, including high fructose corn syrup and sucrose, designed to rapidly spike blood glucose levels. To make these liquid sugar solutions visually striking, manufacturers load them with synthetic, petroleum-derived food dyes like Red 40, Blue 1, and Yellow 5. Chemical compounds linked in clinical studies to hyperactivity, intestinal permeability, and neuroinflammation, combined with high concentrations of refined sodium and synthetic acidity regulators, these sports drinks turn a routine workout into a violent insulin surge, driving visceral fat storage and metabolic dysfunction while providing zero hydration benefit that a simple glass of water could not achieve better. This trend of selling industrial convenience under the guise of fitness extends directly to the refrigerated aisle, with item number 17, pre-made fitness meal prep trays. Targeted at busy professionals and dedicated gym-goers seeking pre-portioned, macro-balanced meals, these vacuum-sealed plastic trays promise clean, home-cooked nutrition with zero effort. The reality of these commercial meal kits is an absolute disaster of food preservation and toxicological exposure. To ensure a multi-week shelf life without visible spoilage, the lean meats, rice, and vegetables are injected with high-sodium preservatives, potassium phosphates, and low-grade refined seed oils to retain moisture. The most terrifying hazard, however, lies in the heating process itself. When these meals are popped into high-powered microwave ovens inside their soft, flexible plastic packaging, the heat forces the plastic polymers to degrade. Synthetic endocrine disruptors such as bisphenols, phthalates, and microplastics leach directly into the hot, oil-coated food underneath. You are not consuming a clean, fitness-focused meal. You are ingesting a high-sodium, chemically preserved dish infused with synthetic hormone disruptors that sabotage your thyroid, lower testosterone, and accelerate systemic inflammation. Even traditional, wholesome staples have been systematically corrupted by industrial processing, as exposed by item number 18, commercial peanut butter. For generations, natural peanut butter was a simple, nutrient-dense spread made from ground roasted peanuts and a pinch of salt, a wholesome source of plant protein and healthy monounsaturated fats. Modern commercial food processors took this humble nut spread and re-engineered it for maximum shelf stability and addictive mouthfeel. To prevent the natural peanut oil from separating and rising to the top of the jar, manufacturers extract the native oils and replace them with cheap, fully hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, such as cottonseed, rapeseed, and soybean oils. They then mix in synthetic mono and diglycerides alongside refined cane sugars and corn syrups. This processing turns a heart-healthy nut butter into a dense, inflammatory paste saturated with oxidized trans fats and refined sugars that coat your digestive tract, elevate low-density lipoproteins, and trigger chronic arterial inflammation with every single tablespoon. This same illusion of natural health is exploited in the snack aisle through item number 19, dried fruit mixes. Neatly packaged in trail mix bags and healthy snack packs, dried cranberries, mango slices, and banana chips are championed as convenient, fruit-based energy boosters packed with dietary fiber and natural antioxidants. This wholesome narrative completely ignores the aggressive chemical processing required to manufacture commercial dried fruit. To accelerate the drying process and preserve bright, unnatural colors, manufacturers douse the fruit in sulfur dioxide, a harsh chemical preservative that can trigger severe respiratory distress, migraines, and allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. Furthermore, because removing water leaves the fruit tart and tough, food processors soak the dried fruit in concentrated sugar syrups, high fructose fruit juices, and cheap seed oils to keep them soft and sweet. What remains is a hyper-concentrated, calorie-dense sugar bomb, coated in oxidized fats that sticks to the surface of your teeth, feeding oral bacteria, accelerating dental decay, and spiking blood sugar levels faster than a handful of chewy fruit candies. The wellness industry's obsession with liquid fortification reaches its absolute peak of absurdity in item number 20, multivitamin-enriched water. Advertised in sleek, clear bottles with minimalist labeling, these fortified waters promise to hydrate your cells while delivering a full spectrum of daily essential vitamins and antioxidants with every refreshing sip. Beneath this pristine surface lies a hyper-processed liquid sugar solution. A single bottle frequently contains upwards of 30 grams of pure crystalline fructose or refined cane sugar, delivering a massive glycemic load directly to your liver. The promised vitamins, typically synthetic ascorbic acid, cyanocobalamin, and synthetic alpha-tocopherol, are cheap, bio-unavailable chemical isolates that your body struggles to absorb effectively. Furthermore, many of these delicate synthetic vitamins degrade rapidly when exposed to light on store shelves, leaving you with nothing more than an expensive, artificially flavored, sugar-sweetened beverage that drives metabolic syndrome while offering zero genuine micronutrient value. We conclude this third part by examining the ultimate irony of diet-conscious dining. Item number 21. Low-calorie salad dressings. Health-conscious individuals routinely build large, nutrient-dense salads packed with fresh leafy greens and vegetables, only to completely ruin their meal by smothering it in bottled low-calorie or fat-free dressing. To eliminate the calories naturally provided by healthy, cold-pressed, extra virgin olive oil or avocado oil, food scientists replace the fat base with water, synthetic thickening gums, modified cornstarches, and massive doses of refined sodium and artificial sweeteners. To recreate the opaque, creamy appearance of real cream or oil emulsions, manufacturers frequently add titanium dioxide, an industrial whitening pigment banned in several regions due to concerns over DNA damage and intestinal inflammation. By stripping out healthy dietary fats, these low-calorie dressings prevent your body from absorbing the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K present in the raw vegetables, leaving you with a salad coated in an artificial chemical emulsion that irritates your gut lining and starches your metabolism of genuine nutrition. We enter the culinary core of the modern pantry to investigate the liquid foundations, savory glazes, and cooking mediums quietly poisoning your home-cooked meals. Part 4. Condiments, oils, and cooking hazards. For decades, health organizations and food manufacturers have urged home cooks to discard traditional, ancestral fats in favor of clear, highly refined seed oils and light, fat-free sauces. They promised a heart-healthy revolution that would clean your arteries and trim your waistline. The horrific reality unfolding in modern public health charts tells the exact opposite story. We begin this culinary autopsy with item number 22, heart-healthy canola and vegetable oils. Proudly bearing endorsement seals from medical foundations on sleek plastic bottles, industrial seed oils, such as canola, soybean, corn, and sunflower oils, are marketed as the golden standard of light, cholesterol-lowering cooking fats. The manufacturing process required to extract oil from these tiny, fragile seeds is a terrifying industrial horror show. To extract every last drop of lipid, the seeds are crushed, bathed in toxic petroleum solvents like hexane, and cooked under extreme high-pressure steam. This intense thermal and chemical assault completely oxidizes the delicate polyunsaturated omega-6 fatty acids, turning them rancid. To hide the resulting foul odor and dark sludge, the oil is washed with chemical bleaching agents and subjected to high-heat deodorization. By the time this clear, odorless oil hits your hot cooking pan, it is a toxic cocktail of oxidized lipids, trans fats, and toxic lipid peroxides that trigger violent systemic inflammation, mutate cellular membranes, and damage vascular endothelial tissue with every sizzle. This toxic industrial fat exposure reaches a new level of chemical delivery in item number 23, cooking oil aerosol sprays. Promoted to calorie-conscious home cooks as a revolutionary way to coat frying pans with a single light spray, these pressurized cans promise 0 calories, 0 mess, and effortless non-stick performance. The chemical reality inside that pressurized metal canister is an absolute nightmare for human cell health. To force dense oil through a tiny aerosol nozzle into a fine mist, manufacturers mix the refined oil with petroleum-derived propellant gases such as propane, butane, and isobutane, the very same gases found in lighter fluid. To keep the emulsion from separating or clogging the valve, they add synthetic emulsifiers like soy lecithin and dimethyl silicone, an industrial silicone anti-foaming agent used in caulks, lubricants, and sealants. When you spray this chemical cocktail onto a hot skillet, the propellants and silicons combust, releasing aerosolized chemical byproducts and oxidized oil droplets directly into your food and kitchen air, coating your healthy skillet in a sticky layer of toxic, heat-damaged industrial additives. This illusion of wholesome, home-cooked comfort extends directly to the soup aisle with item number 24, store-bought organic soups. Displayed in rustic cardboard cartons or traditional metal cans with promises of wholesome organic vegetables, slow-simmered bone broth, and clean eating, these pre-made soups are bought by millions as an easy, nourishing lunch. Beneath the organic seal lies a dense chemical environment designed for multi-year shelf stability. To replace the deep, complex flavors of slow-cooked ingredients at minimal cost, food processors saturate these soups with staggering amounts of refined sodium and autolyzed yeast extracts, a corporate trick designed to hide monosodium glutamate on ingredient labels under a clean-sounding name. Even worse is the container itself. To prevent the acidic broth from corroding the metal, the inside of canned soup is lined with synthetic epoxy resins that leach bisphenol A, bisphenol S, and toxic phthalates directly into the warm, liquid soup. These industrial chemicals act as powerful endocrine disruptors, mimicking estrogen, disrupting thyroid function, and sabotaging metabolic health with every comforting bowl. The industrial alteration of savory flavor becomes even more extreme when we examine item number 25, fat-free mayo and sauces. Consumer fear of dietary fat birthed an entire market of guilt-free mayonnaise, creamy dressings, and savory spreads designed to deliver classic taste without the heavy fat content of real oil and egg yolks. Stripping the natural egg lipids and oils out of traditional mayonnaise destroys its creamy structure, leaving behind an unappealing, watery paste. To recreate the rich, velvety texture that consumers expect, chemical technicians load the formula with chemically modified food starches, microcrystalline cellulose, synthetic gums, and artificial thickeners. Because removing fat completely destroys flavor delivery, manufacturers dump high volumes of refined cane sugar, corn syrup, and heavy sodium into the mixture to stimulate your taste buds. The resulting condiment is not a light, healthy alternative. It is an artificial, high-glycemic starch gel saturated with synthetic thickeners and hidden sugars that trigger rapid insulin spikes and disrupt gut microbial balance. This same corporate strategy of hiding cheap, inflammatory ingredients behind fresh agricultural marketing is exposed in item number 26, pre-made pasta sauces with no sugar added. Adorned with images of sun-ripened Italian tomatoes, fresh basil, and rustic olive oil, these glass jars are marketed as clean, authentic shortcuts to traditional Mediterranean cooking. While the label proudly boasts no added refined table sugar, food manufacturers employ clever biological tricks to sweeten the acidic tomato paste at minimal cost. they flood the source with concentrated apple or white grape juice concentrates, liquid fruit sugars that load the source with unbuffered liquid fructose. To cut costs on expensive extra virgin olive oil, manufacturers dilute the source with cheap, highly refined canola or soybean oil, which oxidizes when heated during industrial canning. Combined with heavy doses of sodium to act as a chemical preservative, these jars turn a simple, heart-healthy tomato sauce into a high-fructose, seed oil-laden metabolic hazard that inflames your gut lining while driving non-alcoholic fatty liver development. Even ancient, time-tested health foods are not safe from corporate cost-cutting, as revealed by item number 27. Commercial hummus. Traditionally crafted for centuries across the Middle East, using simple, nutrient-dense ingredients, cooked chickpeas, creamy tahini, fresh lemon juice, garlic, and rich extra virgin olive oil, authentic hummus is a masterpiece of plant-based nutrition. Modern commercial food processors took this pristine dish and completely degraded its biological value to maximize profit margins and shelf stability. Because authentic extra virgin olive oil is expensive and tends to solidify in refrigerated display cases, commercial manufacturers swap it out entirely for cheap, highly refined soybean, canola, or sunflower seed oils. To preserve the paste for months on end, they flood it with chemical preservatives like potassium sorbate and citric acid. The result is a classic Mediterranean superfood transformed into an inflammatory, seed oil-drenched paste saturated with oxidized omega-6 fatty acids that actively trigger vascular inflammation while depriving you of the protective polyphenols of real olive oil. We round out this fourth part by exposing the sweet, dark deception lurking in the salad bar. Item number 28. Balsamic glazes and reductions. Squeezed artfully over caprese salads, grilled vegetables, and artisan pizzas, these thick, glossy, dark glazes are marketed as a sophisticated, gourmet upgrade to traditional Italian balsamic vinegar. Authentic traditional balsamic vinegar is an ancient, prized ferment made slowly by aging pure grape must in wooden casks for years, resulting in a complex, naturally thick, antioxidant-rich tonic. Commercial balsamic glazes are a cheap industrial fraud designed to mimic that ancient process in seconds. Industrial food companies take cheap, low-grade white wine vinegar, boil it down, and saturate it with refined brown sugar, high-fructose corn syrup, and modified food starch to force a thick, syrupy consistency. To achieve that deep, dark mahogany color, they add ammonium sulfite caramel coloring, a synthetic color additive linked in toxicological studies to vascular inflammation and carcinogenic byproducts. What you are drizzling over your healthy salad is not a beneficial fermented tonic, but a hyper-processed, caramel-colored sugar syrup that spikes blood glucose and coats your raw vegetables in refined liquid sugar. We enter the most lucrative, deceptive sanctuary of the modern supermarket. Part 5. The Organic and Natural Label Scam. Over the past 2 decades, multi-billion-dollar agricultural conglomerates have bought up boutique health brands and mastered the lucrative art of greenwashing. By stamping glowing green seals, eco-friendly earth tones, and comforting buzzwords like organic, all-natural, and non-GMO onto colorful cardboard packaging, industrial manufacturers charge a premium price for products that are structurally, chemically, and metabolically identical to the junk food in the middle aisles. We begin this forensic exposure with item number 29, organic fruit snacks and gummies. Marketed to conscientious parents as a wholesome organic fruit treat packed with natural vitamin C, these soft, colorful bites are positioned as a guilt-free alternative to commercial candy. The biological reality inside your child's bloodstream is an unmitigated disaster. To secure the coveted organic certification, manufacturers swap out high-fructose corn syrup for organic tapioca syrup and organic cane sugar. Your liver, however, does not possess a magical sensor for agricultural seals. High-fructose corn syrup organic tapioca syrup, and organic cane sugar are all broken down into the exact same basic monosaccharides, pure glucose and pure fructose. When consumed without the protective cellular matrix of intact whole fruit fiber, these organic syrups flood the liver with rapid fructose, driving de novo lipogenesis, acute insulin spikes, and systemic metabolic dysfunction at the exact same rate as cheap penny candy, wrapped in a fraudulent halo of organic virtue. This structural illusion of natural health continues in the snack aisle with item number 30, whole-grain baked chips and crackers, promoted as heart-healthy, high-fiber, non-fried alternatives to traditional fried potato chips. These crunchy baked snacks feature pictures of golden wheat stalks and pristine whole grains. What the sleek marketing fails to disclose is the mechanical violence inflicted upon those whole grains during industrial milling. To produce a crisp, thin cracker, whole wheat kernels are pulverized by high-speed steel rollers into ultra-fine micro-powders. This hyper-milling process completely shatters the natural cellular structure and protective fiber mesh that normally slows down carbohydrate digestion. When you swallow a handful of these whole-grain crackers, your digestive enzymes convert the ultra-fine flour into pure glucose almost instantly. Despite the glowing whole-grain claims on the front panel, these baked snacks possess a glycemic impact virtually identical to refined white flour or pure table sugar, triggering immediate violent blood sugar spikes, followed by a rapid insulin crash that leaves you exhausted and craving more quick-burning carbohydrates within the hour. The greenwashing industry's ability to monetize biological illusions reaches an absolute performance peak in item number 31, commercial kombucha drinks. Displayed in high-end refrigerated cases with promises of raw gut restoration, ancient probiotic wisdom, and vibrant metabolic vitality, this sparkling fermented tea has exploded into a multi-billion-dollar wellness phenomenon. While traditional home-fermented kombucha can offer genuine organic acids, commercial industrial bottling has ruined its health benefits. To make raw, living kombucha palatable for the mass market and prevent bottle explosions on store shelves, commercial brewers interrupt the natural fermentation process early, leaving high levels of unfermented, residual cane sugar in the bottle. To ensure a sweet, bubbly commercial product, they frequently add concentrated fruit juices, sweet flavor syrups, and additional refined sugars just before sealing. The result is a hyperacidic, sugar-laden beverage with a pH frequently dropping below 3.0. Drinking this acidic, sugary liquid throughout the day erodes protective tooth enamel, feeds pathogenic yeast species in the oral cavity, and floods your digestive tract with unbuffered simple sugars, turning a traditional health tonic into a costly, enamel-stripping metabolic hazard. This same pattern of liquid deception dominates the produce section through item number 32, pre-packaged green juices. Packaged in sleek, clear bottles, showing off vibrant emerald green liquids, these pre-made cold-pressed juices promise an effortless blast of concentrated, leafy green nutrition, detoxifying your system with every single sip. A careful audit of the nutrition facts label reveals a classic food engineering bait and switch. Because pure kale, spinach, and celery juice is earthy, bitter, and completely unpalatable to the average consumer, commercial juice brands fill 70 to 80% of the bottle with cheap, hyper-sweet fruit bases, primarily concentrated apple juice and white grape juice. The promised spinach and kale are added in small amounts, primarily to color the liquid green. Because industrial pressing and fine filtration completely remove every trace of insoluble dietary fiber, drinking one of these green bottles delivers up to 50 grams of liquid fructose and glucose directly into your bloodstream without any fibrous barrier to slow absorption. You are not detoxifying your liver, you are overwhelming it with a massive, fiber-stripped sugar load that triggers rapid liver fat deposition under the literal color mask of green health. The deceptive manipulation of healthy textures is nowhere more apparent than in item number 33, Artisanal rice cakes. Long considered the ultimate diet food by bodybuilders and calorie-restricted dieters, these dry, airy discs are praised for being virtually fat-free, low-calorie, and made from simple whole-grain brown rice. This innocent appearance hides one of the most violent glycemic traps in the entire grocery store. To manufacture rice cakes, whole rice grains are subjected to an industrial process known as high-temperature thermal puffing. Moisture inside the grain is superheated under extreme pressure until it explosively expands the starch granules, creating a porous, styrofoam-like cake. This thermal explosion completely shatters the crystalline structure of the rice starch, converting it into a hyperdigestible form of pure amylopectin. When you eat a rice cake, your salivary and pancreatic amylase enzymes break down the puffed starch in seconds. Rice cakes boast a glycemic index rating higher than pure white table sugar, driving an immediate, sky-high blood sugar spike that forces a massive insulin response, plunging your blood glucose into a state of reactive hypoglycemia that triggers ravenous hunger and compulsive overeating shortly after consumption. This industrial destruction of delicate whole foods reaches a dangerous biochemical level in item number 34, multi-seed gourmet crackers. Elegantly packaged and displayed in artisanal deli sections, these premium crackers feature visible, whole seeds, flax, chia, sesame, and sunflower seeds, baked right into the wafer. They are marketed as ancient grain superfood snacks, rich in essential omega-3 fatty acids, plant proteins, and heart-healthy minerals. This narrative completely ignores the fundamental chemistry of delicate lipids. Flax and chia seeds are rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a polyunsaturated omega-3 fat containing multiple double bonds that make it extraordinarily fragile and sensitive to heat. To bake a crunchy, shelf-stable cracker, these whole seed doughs are passed through commercial baking ovens at temperatures exceeding 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This extreme thermal exposure causes rapid lipid peroxidation, thermally degrading and oxidizing the delicate polyunsaturated fats within the seeds before the product even leaves the factory. What you are eating is not a heart-healthy, omega-3 rich superfood snack, but an expensive, crispy cracker loaded with oxidized, rancid fats that trigger systemic vascular inflammation and oxidative stress throughout your cardiovascular system. We round out this fifth part by dismantling the ultimate synthetic creation of modern plant-based greenwashing. Item number 35. Dairy-free nut cheeses. Wrapped in minimalist, eco-friendly packaging and priced at a premium, these artisanal dairy-free blocks and spreads promise the rich, savory satisfaction of gourmet cheese without the dairy, lactose, or ethical burden of industrial farming. While consumers assume these products are crafted primarily from ground, nutrient-dense almonds or cashews, the reality inside the factory is an absolute triumph of cheap synthetic chemistry. To lower production costs and achieve a firm, sliceable texture, manufacturers use minimal amounts of actual nuts, instead building the block on a heavy base of highly refined, saturated coconut oil, water, and modified food starches. To replicate the tangy flavor and golden hue of real aged dairy, they saturate the starch and oil matrix with artificial flavor compounds, yeast extracts, heavy sodium, and synthetic food dyes. The resulting product is a hyper-processed, nutrient-void block composed almost entirely of isolated saturated fat and refined starches, offering zero bioavailable protein or calcium, while flooding your system with dense, processed fats under the fraudulent banner of clean, plant-based eating. We conclude our dark forensic journey through the modern corporate food supply with our final damning examination. Part 6. The corporate ultra-processed trap. Beyond the individual deceptions of marketing labels and specific dietary trends lies a broader, far more systemic industrial reality. The modern supermarket is not a warehouse of human nourishment, It is a carefully calibrated biological minefield designed by corporate conglomerates and food scientists to maximize shelf stability, lower manufacturing overhead, and exploit the evolutionary vulnerabilities of human appetite. We begin this final descent with item number 36, rotisserie chicken with additive injection. Convenience-seeking shoppers frequently purchase warm, golden rotisserie chickens from the deli counter, believing they are bringing home a clean, simple, high-protein whole food for their families. The industrial reality behind that steaming plastic dome is a masterclass in weight manipulation and chemical preservation. To maximize profit on low-cost poultry, commercial processors pump raw chicken carcasses full of a high-pressure chemical brine solution, using massive arrays of industrial needles. This injected solution consists of water, heavy sodium chloride, refined sugars, synthetic carrageenan, and sodium phosphate. The carrageenan and sodium phosphate act as chemical sponges, trapping excess water weight inside the muscle fibers so the bird can be sold at a higher per-pound price. When you eat this seemingly simple roasted chicken, you are ingesting a dense load of synthetic phosphates and inflammatory gums that disrupt blood pressure regulation, damage renal function, and irritate the mucosal lining of your gut. This pattern of sacrificing genuine freshness for corporate convenience continues in the produce department with item number 37, pre-cut supermarket fruit bowls. Neatly arranged in clear plastic tubs, pre-sliced pineapples, melons, and berries promise effortless, refreshing fruit nutrition for busy lifestyle consumers. The moment industrial blades slice through the protective outer skin of fresh fruit, a rapid process of cellular degradation and oxidation begins. Exposing delicate fruit tissue to light, ambient oxygen, and artificial store illumination rapidly evaporates heat-sensitive antioxidants, completely destroying natural vitamin C and delicate phytonutrients long before the bowl reaches your refrigerator. Worse still is the packaging environment itself. Acidic juices from sliced pineapple, citrus, and melon react continuously with the soft plastic containers, accelerating the leaching of synthetic plasticizers, phthalates, and bisphenol compounds directly into the sweet, wet fruit. You are paying a 300% price markup for oxidized, nutrient-depleted fruit drenched in microplastics and synthetic endocrine disruptors. The illusion of clean, whole food nutrition is even more dangerously executed at the seafood counter through item number 38. Farm-raised, fresh salmon. Proudly displayed on mounds of crushed ice with glowing labels touting heart-healthy omega-3 fatty acids, farm-raised Atlantic salmon is bought by millions as a pristine superfood. The industrial reality inside high-density ocean net pens is a biological tragedy. Wild salmon acquire their vibrant pinkish-red flesh and potent antioxidant profile naturally by swimming thousands of miles and consuming wild krill and microalgae containing natural astaxanthin. Farmed salmon, raised in overcrowded, polluted coastal pens on a cheap diet of soy pellets, poultry feather meal, and fish meal, possess dull, grayish-white flesh. To make this sickly fish appealing to consumers, chemical feed companies supply fish farms with synthetic, petroleum-derived astaxanthin dyes, added directly to the feed pellets to dye the fish flesh an artificial marketable pink. Furthermore, because these farmed fish consume grain-heavy feeds rather than wild ocean organisms, their fat profile is completely inverted. Loaded with inflammatory omega-6 fatty acids and environmental toxins, turning a supposed cardiovascular medicine into an inflammatory hazard. This chemical contamination reaches a concentrated daily level in the supplement aisle with item number 39, commercial protein powders. Marketed as the ultimate clean fuel for muscle growth, recovery, and daily protein supplementation, these large plastic tubs of whey, soy, and plant protein are consumed daily by millions of athletes and health-conscious adults. Toxicological audits of commercial protein powders consistently reveal a horrifying truth. Heavy chemical contamination. Independent laboratory testing routinely detects measurable levels of toxic heavy metals, including lead, arsenic, cadmium, and mercury, which accumulate in protein powders through contaminated soil, industrial drying equipment, and low-grade imported ingredients. To make these chalky metallic powders palatable, manufacturers mix in synthetic flavor blends, chemical anti-caking agents like silicon dioxide, and artificial sweeteners like sucralose and acesulfame potassium. Consuming these concentrated powders daily overloads your liver and kidneys with heavy metal residues, taxes your intestinal barrier with artificial emulsifiers, and forces your liver's detoxification pathways into a state of chronic overload under the guise of daily physical optimization. Even corporate health endorsements are bought and sold in broad daylight, as exposed by item number 40. Heart-healthy boxed cereal brands. For decades, classic boxed cereals have featured prominent, glowing red heart seals and official health organization stamps on their cardboard covers, assuring parents that the sugary flakes inside are certified to lower cholesterol and protect cardiovascular function. This is corporate greenwashing at its most cynical. These official health stamps are not earned through rigorous, independent biological safety trials. They are purchased through massive corporate sponsorship deals and licensing fees paid by multi-billion-dollar food conglomerates. Inside the box, you find no genuine cardiovascular medicine, but rather hyper-extruded refined flour, high-fructose corn syrup, chemical preservatives like BHT, and industrial additives like trisodium phosphate, a heavy-duty cleaning and degreasing agent used in industrial applications, added here as a chemical buffer to make dough flow smoothly through high-speed manufacturing machinery. The liquid manipulation of traditional health beverages reaches its conclusion in the beverage cooler through item number 41, bottled cold brew teas. Advertised as refreshing, antioxidant-rich teas brewed naturally to protect your health, these sleek glass bottles promise the clean, therapeutic benefits of ancient tea culture. To ensure a multi-month shelf life without cloudiness or spoilage, commercial tea manufacturers cook the tea leaves at extreme temperatures, destroying delicate epigallocatechin gallate polyphenols and natural antioxidants. To stabilize the liquid, they douse it with concentrated citric acid additives, synthetic flavor extracts, and high volumes of liquid sugar or high-fructose corn syrup. What remains in the bottle is an acidic, tooth-corroding sugar water that offers virtually zero bioavailable tea antioxidants while flooding your system with unbuffered liquid sugar and industrial acid. This brings us to item number 42, the ultra-processed supermarket monopoly. When you step back and observe the entire landscape of the modern grocery store, a terrifying realization emerges. Over 80% of the 70,000 items stacked neatly on supermarket shelves are not real foods created by nature to sustain human life. They are hyper-palatable, highly engineered industrial constructs manufactured from a tiny handful of subsidized monocrop commodities: corn, soy, wheat, and industrial seed oils, chemically reconstructed with synthetic additives, artificial flavor packs, and industrial binders. These products are explicitly engineered by metabolic scientists to bypass your brain's natural satiety signals, driving compulsive overeating, chronic cellular inflammation, and multi-generational metabolic collapse. The modern supermarket is an economic engine built on a dark trade-off, converting human health into corporate profit, leaving millions sick, addicted, and dependent on the very system that poisoned them in the first place.